Hello, everybody.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome back to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV movie channel. Happy Star Wars Day, y'all.
Yep. May the 4th be with you.
This is totally Sting from Lord of the Rings, but it looks like a lightsaber, so we're going with it. How are you on this fine Sunday, Sarah?
I'm doing good. I'm sure I sound great in this helmet.
Can you breathe is the biggest question, honestly.
For a couple minutes.
Those things are so fun. Like, I love watching people around them, like, wear them around Comic-Cons and stuff. And by about halfway through the day, you just see someone take a helmet off and just a bucket of sweat just drop. You're just like, oh, that looks fun. Like, oh, joy. Well, it's Star Wars Day. Are you doing anything special? Watching anything in particular? Checking out the new Star Wars Tales of the Underworld or anything like that? Any fun plans?
Brett and I went and saw Thunderbolts Friday night. It was good.
That was surprising.
Was different than I kind of expected it to be, but I liked it. Got caught up on Andor yesterday, and that's about my latest Star Wars stuff.
Never written your outfit. Andor-wise, I still have not caught up with the most 3 recent episodes because we talked about it just a little bit earlier. They recast Bail Organa. He's been Bail Organa. Jimmy Smits has been Bail Organa for 26 years? And why? Why did they recast Bail Organa? I know. Lucasfilm, please hire me one day. I'm going to piss you off for just a second, though, because, sorry, you can't lie to your audience and your public like that. There's no scheduling conflicts that Jimmy Smits has had, grammatically there. IMDb Pro, if you pay for it, guess what? You can see what people's projects are and what they're doing. They said it was a filming scheduling conflict. The only thing that Jimmy Smits is filming right now is Dexter Resurrection. Oh my God, early in the morning. That being said, it is filming currently. Andor season 2 has been filming for the last few years. And the last thing that Jimmy Smits was in The Heights, the musical. He didn't have any scheduling conflicts. So what does IMDb say about you, Harris? That I need more work. So Lucasfilm, please don't pay attention to the aggravated aspect of it. Just be like, hey, this guy is passionate about Star Wars. Please. Why is Sarah so radioactive?
My camera's being weird. I'm gonna try just turning my camera off and on again and see if it doesn't.
She bought the camera from the Radical Wasteland podcast secondhand store.
Yeah. It should, hopefully. I think that having the helmet on like messed it up, but it should.
Oh, the green.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It should automatically. Anyway, hopefully it'll just give it a few minutes.
Yeah, because it did that on a Farsk Patreon, right? And it kind of just fitted out after a second. But yeah, I don't get the recasting of Bail Organa. I really do like, I believe his name is Ben Pratt, is the actor that is portraying Bail Organa now. He's an awesome actor. Phenomenal dude. I have zero qualms with who they cast to recast him. But for the seemingly unnecessary and I feel like it just rips apart some of the glue of the Star Wars franchise. Obviously, Jimmy Smits is kind of your, for the fun little like Star Wars term, is kind of a glup shitto, and since like, okay, some random secondary character that actually has more to do with the story than you'd think, but definitely some random secondary character. He's the glue. He is the glue of the last 25 years of Star Wars, you know? He's the thing that ties everything together outside of R2-D2. You know, he is the one that puts the prequel trilogy into the sequel trilogy, ties all the little TV shows every step of the way together along the way. And I don't know why they would have done it. Unless you de-age Jimmy Smits, doesn't it break up continuity? They didn't de-age Ben Pratt. They gave him a scraggly gray beard and made him look older than the way Jimmy Smits is looking. So I don't know. Only Harris would develop a conspiracy theory on Jimmy Smith's schedule availability in the recasting of Bail Organa. Yes, and I am upset about it just because like the dude's so great. He's such a great actor. My little conspiracy theory here is: does the internet know? Does chat? Have y'all been able to like catch anything over the last year or two? Has he said something like politically that's just been a little out there, or did he do something to piss somebody off or anything like that? Because that's what this reeks of. You know, you can claim scheduling conflicts all day, but now that schedules are open and available to the public that's willing to pay for them or are acting inside of the industry and talks about the industry, so they pay for the service that tells you how people's projects are going. You can't just straight up lie to the audience and the public anymore. Sorry, Lucasfilm and Disney, but like, maybe Jimmy was asking for too much money.
That could be.
Sure, and that's a possibility, and I think that's probably a fairly apt a possibility. Y'all listen to Quest down here. Melvin's telling you what to do. Gotta listen to the Melvin man. I just, even if he was asking for too much money, what is too much money for a few small scenes on a thing they've already spent $600 million on?
Right.
He's like he is the literal glue. He is the one thing outside of Mon Mothma, and Mon Mothma is now becoming the glue. She's now adding herself into the Jimmy Smits level of things, where before she was a big like heralding piece of both eras, but was never like a focal point. Now she's got that focal point, and she's kind of getting her Jimmy Smith come up, I guess, her Bail Organa come up, and I love it. But that doesn't mean I don't think that takes away from Bail either. But I feel like they're kind of letting it just subconsciously through the background. And come on, you don't have to take someone down to bring somebody up. Simple as that. I don't know. They have better writers.
He didn't want to do it. Do we know that? I mean, maybe he just didn't want to.
Oh, we have no idea. I'm totally speculating. Totally speculating. But for the one thing that has been like the most consistent thing throughout his career, because of course, you know, he has a huge role as not the Trinity Killer. That's John Lithgow. I forget whatever his Dexter serial killer's name is in Dexter, but he had a big old Dexter thing, and then Sons of Anarchy. He has a very pivotal role in Sons of Anarchy over a couple seasons. But outside of that, I love Jimmy Smits. He's someone that I've known as an actor name-wise my entire life, but I couldn't really name more than 3 or 4 movies outside of those 3 things.
Right.
I don't think most people could. I can't see him saying no to Lucasfilm saying, hey, you want to come work with us?
Right.
It just doesn't make sense, you know?
It is kind of interesting. I don't know.
Maybe it's just a big nothing burger and I'm just looking into it, you know? Hopefully that's the case.
But it makes it more fun if there's a conspiracy, you know?
So much more. So much more. But that is my big conspiracy theory for the day. Outside of that, chat, what are y'all watching for Star Wars today? Smits and Alan Alda doing the presidential debate in West Wing was awesome. Smits can do anything. He's a chameleon.
He was in NYPD Blue, right? He replaced what's his name on NYPD Blue?
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't watch NYPD Blue, but I just remember like he took over after the CSI Miami guy left the show, I think.
You know,
the
red hair guy.
Yeah.
That is the person I will never forget. Obviously, I like CSI Miami. I like Gary Sinise a whole bunch, but CSI Miami was a little bit more my alley than New York, you know. It was a little bit more swampy. I was raised in a swamp. Surprise. That his acting is what I was technically was like the first acting note I got for like not stage acting, film acting, and like TV acting versus theater acting, because you know on a stage you're trying to project and speak to the back of the room, and literally what he does in CSI Miami all the time is So yeah, we have this going on, and there's some people back here that we have to go fight. He's just talking like at this level, at the highest, and it's the camera and the microphone are going to get so much more than you would on stage. So you don't have to do all that. And it was like just blew my little brain as a little kid. Was like, oh, so acting's not just making a fool out of yourself. No, it's really reeling it back sometimes.
And being good at taking off sunglasses, I guess.
That's the truth. Or in Jimmy Smith's case, wearing capes.
Oh, yep.
Because he might be the only person that wears capes better than Lando Calrissian.
Yep.
And I don't know if it's better because Lando can wear a damn cape like few others can. I'm just saying. The guy took his shades off and come out with a corny line, LOL, every time. It was CIS. I never watched the NCIS shows, really. CSI Miami and CSI New York were really the only two I ever watched.
I watched the original CSI, but never really got into the spin-offs and stuff. So,
because what's the one with the goth girl that ends up being the computer? Is that NCIS?
Yeah.
Or is that the original CIS?
That's the original NCIS, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's so many. I get so confused. I can't keep up with. I love that Rob Lowe has a lot of consistent work now, but it's like Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago Air Force Base number 3 or something like that. It's so random. I can't keep up with any of them.
What is it? Oh, it's Fire, PD, and Med. That's the
Oh,
and then
Med.
They do a crossover at least once a year, I think.
Oh, they'd have to. It's your obligatory Supergirl, Arrow, and Flash crossover, just separate. Nice talking about Star Wars and Star Wars Day, LOL. We got some tangents. I went on a little bit of a soapbox for a second, so we had to wind it back just a second. What are you thinking on Star Wars Day? Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I just said, us, rabbit trails, tangents. That's our thing.
We like rabbit trails. One thing that I tried to do right before the stream, that was a little Star Wars oriented, was I went and found my Plo Koon mask from a few Halloweens ago. It was about a $25 costume, and it's been sitting in a box for a few years. So as I tried to put on the Plo Koon mask, his forehead split in half, and he now looks like Palpatine's even more disfigured second cousin or something. I don't know. It's, but hey, it's got a heart. It's a heart for Star Wars. Oh yeah, it's not as good as Sarah's Boba Fett helmet. Did you see my previous comment? Let me check it out. Oh, if Leia was 10 in Obi-Wan, and I can't even speak. If Leia was 10 in Kenobi, excuse me, it's only 9 years before Andor season 2, right? He wouldn't look that much different, would he? Leia was 19 in A New Hope. Well, yes and no.
Yeah.
He shouldn't look all that different.
Right.
But two sons ages you a whole bunch, as we know from Ewan McGregor turning into Alec Guinness.
Yeah.
So if Ewan were to come back for a season 2 of Kenobi, that was a couple years later, or if he were to pop up in Andor season 2 somehow.
Right. Well, in his case, it works because, he needs to be older looking.
Yeah.
So that works.
Pepper going or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not over till it's over. I look different from 9 years ago now, about 20 kilograms of different. LOL. Yeah. Thankfully, the desert won't let him gain too much weight. Only Jabba's allowed to do that on that planet. Or Bib Fortuna after Jabba leaves. Those are the only opportunities. But Ewan's got to go through some aging there. There's a little a white streak or two that needs to pop in that hair. Not gray. I think the desert skips the gray aspect of it and just puts you into the next field real quick.
Just bleaches you totally white. Yeah.
Don't people born in other worlds in Star Wars, don't they have different life expectancies? Totally. Obviously, because Star Wars is more of the space fantasy than sci-fi. They don't lean into, well, this sun does this amount of daylight per year. And, there are some things that go deep, and some planets they'll have some of that information for, but
right.
we don't necessarily know all of it. So there's kind of like room for fun, which lets it be a little bit more of that space fantasy.
Yeah, and we don't know where medical science is at in terms of like preventing aging and what access do different people on different planets have to that and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
And if you take yourself out of it, like Kenobi obviously does on Tatooine, well, you might be 45 or 50, but you look like you're about 70 because, well, two sons and you didn't take any preventative measures or so on and so forth.
Right.
If you could live on any Star Wars planet, though, which one would you go for?
Oh God.
Chat, this is up to y'all too. This is a big open-ended
I don't know
question.
if I know the planets. I only all of the I wouldn't want to
help
live
out
on
name some of them. Tatooine?
No.
No.
A desert. I mean, although it has its own beauty to it. I mean, what you get, 3 suns or 3 moons or whatever it is? Or
2 suns and is it more than? I don't know how many moons, honestly. There's probably like 40.
I guess if you're looking for tropical, was the Wookiee planet kind of tropical? And
Kashyyyk. You can always go to Naboo, where Palpatine and Amidala and
right, yeah,
Jar Jar are from. I was like, who's the third one I'm trying to think of?
Right.
None as they get normally attacked. For sake, they all do get blown up pretty like consistently.
Yeah,
and on grand scales.
Yeah, Coruscant seems too crowded. Yeah, I
don't. It might just be the fun in me. I like Coruscant a whole bunch. I couldn't live there. That'd be like a city planet to visit to. But there's one that I don't know if like the film and the TV audience of Star Wars knows about it as much. They've kind of hinted at it just a little bit, especially when I think it was near one of the planets that either Boba or Mando was. I think it was Mando was going around, doing some bounty hunting around. It was Nar Shaddaa. It's essentially another giant metropolis planet. I can't think of what the term for metropolis planet is right now. Like Coruscant, but it's essentially their Las Vegas planet. And it's like the bounty hunter thing. It's cool as hell. If I had to live on a city planet, I'm going there.
Right.
I kind of think it's around kind of where like Hut Space is, if I got to remember right. Howdy, Stanleys.
What's that planet they went to in one of the was it the second, not Force Awake, what was the Rise of Skywalker or whatever, where they went to that? It was like a Vegas-like place.
Canto Bite, I believe.
Yeah, that's Mark got it right there. Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah. That looked like it might be kind of fun, but that was like a Vegas kind of thing with Force children or whatever.
No, Canto Bite would be the upscale, smaller version of Nar Shaddaa, which would be really cool. Quest is updating us. If Andor is 1 year every 3 episodes, Leia should be 17, almost 18, possibly. Yeah, that would make sense. Oh, okay. I thought this was like some character's name for a second, Juliet. I was like, which one? I was like, oh God, I know too many Star Wars characters. Which one?
Right.
Those are the moons.
I was right. 3 moons. I wasn't sure if I had that right.
Oh, yeah.
3 moons, 2 suns, right? Is that what it is? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. 2 suns, 3 moons. Nice. Thought I'd correct myself. Nice. Okay. Yeah, because Naboo and Kashyyyk are the ones that obviously coming from. Well, LA is not very marshy or anything, but just being raised in like a marsh-like condition. Kashyyyk and Naboo are kind of up my alley. I could do either one of those all day. Octo. Monk keeps saying Octo. Octo is awesome. Jeddah is a little less deserty of a desert planet, maybe. Alderaan would be amazing before, of course, it gets
as long as you don't stay too long.
Yeah. Hey, Quest brought up a good little caveat to this. I wouldn't live on a planet.
Yeah.
I'd live on my own ship. But, sir.
Then you could travel around.
What kind of ship? Did
you
you
got to
think
go
of
with Millennium Falcon, right? Cruise around the universe in that. It'd be pretty nice.
it'd be a pretty good one. I don't know. I'm going with. I like Bosk's ship for the space it has. The Bosk is the lizard guy, the bounty hunter lizard guy, the Trandoshan who hunts Wookiees. So he would have a really good, cool ship that's just used to capture. He just has a lot of space for rewards and such. Harloff Miner would also be on my list. Houndstooth is boss. Thank you, Stanley's. Houndstooth is sick. But I would go with the slave one. Boba Fett and Jango Fett's ship. Oh. Harloff Miner. Okay. Does he actually have a planet named after him in Star Wars? I literally became a YouTube member of Christian Harloff's channel this week. I've watched him for years. Was like, you know what? Give him $3 a month or something, If I say Naboo, is there a risk of ending up stuck in the Gungan city instead? Well, he does. That's actually.
Maybe he'd want to visit, but
take a nice little submarine real quick.
Yeah.
Don't try to. Actually, they did swim there, didn't they? So it is.
Yeah, they did.
Hold up. What are you eating? What are you eating? My cat was eating my Christmas lights down there. It's not. He needs a. Nope. That chair is not in eating range now. Lord. I would like the Gungan City. The Gungan City. Cat. Crazy thing. Okay. It's gonna be nice to have an office separate from cats here, starting tomorrow. Tomorrow's move-in day. Very excited. Then they can't eat everything halfway through. There are other things you can eat, Harris. Yes, this little, it's Etrigan the Demon. The Demon's eating all kinds of stuff back there. He's named after the correct DC character. When you get a chance, Harloff ran a trivia contest called the Movie Trivia Schmodown. They even had a Star Wars division. I remember the Schmodowns, the Movie Trivia Schmodowns. That's where I became familiar, I guess, with the whole space that I guess we're inking in towards. Hold up. I'm sorry. Let me get this cat out of here. I got to close the door. Things are going to just start falling because there are too many things in bags right now. But Schmodown. Yeah, no, that's where I kind of became familiar with John Campea, Christian Harloff, Robert Meyer Burnett, Dan Morell, John Roca, all the entire kind of like film industry pundit space kind of deal. And they're all awesome. I'd love to enter more and more into that as we go on, I finally got a coat of paint on a couple of walls today. Attaway Quest. Sam Witwer was a Star Wars champion. Sam Witwer, not only on Schmodowns, that man is a Star Wars champion. If anybody, maybe a hot take, maybe not. I love Dave Filoni. I just don't think he can herald in like a studio. I don't think he could lead a studio. Sam Witwer is simply an actor. I don't think he's done a whole bunch of directing and producing. I think he's done that to like a degree. I still think he has a better finger on the pulse for a lot of things. I'd rather Sam Witwer take over as head of Lucasfilm than a lot of other choices. And he would be kind of an oddball person there to do so, but not oddball necessarily. That's not the right term. He'd be out of the usual pickings, but damn would he be devoted. And he knows all of their IPs better than I think just about anybody in a suit out there.
Right. I like him being human.
Yeah, and he's great. And he can do so well with the acting aspect of the job. Not even the acting aspect, like the acting like in board meetings and stuff where he could woo up any and every executive in a suit he needs to and still get the point across for like the TV show or film he's trying to make. It could be interesting. There we go. Witwer is a Filoni disciple, though. Yes, Witwer was there before. He wasn't like there before Filoni, of course. He's one of Filoni's like right hand people, obviously. But like the whole story that we're all super familiar with is Witwer schooled Filoni. He got hired by schooling Filoni. not many people can school Filoni. You know, George Lucas's protege. So give me a little Whitworth. We're ready for some Whitworth, you know. Are all the cats moving? Yes. So many cats, too few recipes. As an aside, whoever made the sound of the Wraith ships clearly grew up watching Airwolf. Heyo. Yes. That'd be a yes. Star Wars Day, though. Did you watch any of the Visions or Tales series? Okay. I didn't watch Tales of the Empire last year. Tales of the Jedi was awesome. Right. I think you'd really like that with Ahsoka and Count Dooku. But chat, did y'all watch Tales of the Empire last year? I missed it, and it's been hurting my soul for an entire year. I didn't hear the best things about it, and then I also heard some really good things about it. So I'm interested to see where it'll end up. But I didn't watch it last year on May 4th, and I've waited an entire year. So we will watch that this afternoon, y'all. I do have I think I set it for 1 o'clock, 1 p.m., 1:15, something in that range.
You set up a couple of different ones. I think 2 separate.
Yeah. Tales, it's not giving me a time that I set it for. Let me. Oh wait, no, I'd have to back out of StreamYard to be able to see it on there. I believe it's 1 o'clock and like a 2:40.
I'm pulling up YouTube right now. I think it's
that'll be 1 o'clock is Tales of the Underworld, which if nobody's watched it yet, it did come out at midnight or 3 a.m. East Coast time. I guess 8 a.m. UK time or 6 a.m. UK time because it's only 6 hours from the East Coast. And Tales of the Underworld looked good. That's Asajj Ventress and Cad Bane. I don't know if it's gonna. I think the Asajj is honestly gonna be more interesting, even though Cad Bane's such a damn cool character. But yeah, it's gonna be an afternoon full of tales of Star Wars. It's gonna be good.
Anyway, yeah, you have one set up for 1 o'clock and one set up for 2:40.
Booyah. Okay, because both should be about an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
I think that they're all 6 episodes of about 15 minutes each.
Oh, okay.
So it might not be that long, including credits and such. But, we'll do a little watch party, a couple watch parties for that. And it'll be a fun way to spend Star Wars Day. Right before it's time to pack insanely for the next few hours after that. Mike said, imagine moving with cats. Every time you want to put something in a box, there's a cat that sat in it. Yes, That's why I'm trying to fill these boxes as much as possible to keep them from finding a way in there. But instead, I put out a bunch of bags, and now, as you can see, the cats have been eating the bags and everything inside of the bags for a while.
Yeah, lots of things to explore.
Okay, Stanley's is saying we didn't miss much with Tales of the Empire. Morgan Elsbeth, we don't learn much. We didn't already know. Barriss was better, but not amazing. That's kind of what I've heard. I've heard they're both good stories, but more good in the sense of, hey, these are characters we enjoy, but not the characters we really wanted to see from, especially in the Empire. Like, I like Morgan Elsbeth, and I think the actress, particularly, I can't remember her name right now, but she's Bruce Lee's niece. Like, the actress that played Morgan Elsbeth, I think she deserves a little bit more love, so I see why they did it. I just don't think it's a character anybody really cares about enough to do that. Barriss, I think, would have been a better starting point, and then, jump into anybody else. In Tales of the Empire, Morgan Elsbeth isn't really all that Empire. She fits more in the Separatist, like the Confederacy kind of stage of Star Wars, versus the Empirical. She is a minor part of that. She was a minor part of the Separatist aspect of things. She was just a little girl. And obviously, we know that the Night Sisters don't really do too well against old Grievous. So we will see how that goes later today, of course. But
yeah, I like the Night Sisters. I want more of that. They're so cool.
It's not the Acolyte version.
Yeah, not that version.
So bad. But the Night Sisters are like
Yeah.
I see why they went that way.
Also, right? Yeah.
They are. Yeah,
Claudia
that's
Black,
that stuff.
Claudia Black is one of them.
Yes, she's the leader. Miss
Mhm.
Vala, Miss Aaron, Sun, Moon, Stars, all the above.
Yeah.
That's her witch name.
Yeah.
Monk said, I gave Ahsoka a chance. It was meh. It started off all right. I didn't love the first 2 episodes, but I was like, okay, this is getting us punching. Cool. I really liked most of the middle episodes.
Yeah.
The last episode made me want to bang my head against a wall. And I get that most people are, I think, Ahsoka fans, and I love Ahsoka. Might be one of my top 3 or easily my top 3 or 4 Star Wars characters. Just the whole arc that I witnessed her like grow up alongside me as a kid, essentially.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it, and it's a really heartfelt, strong story. And for Dave Filoni to be the one that pinned the last episode of Ahsoka in the season 1 makes me want to throw up. It's awful. it's the most boring, mundane, D-level episode of something like that we could have gotten. Right. Thrawn. I think I've said the meme I've seen before, but there's like Thrawn from the original trilogy of books, and he's playing 4D chess. Then there's Thrawn from Disney's Aftermath trilogy, and it's Thrawn playing regular chess. Then there's Thrawn from the Rebels show, which is still really good, but then he's playing checkers. And now we're at like Thrawn playing Go Fish or something. Like this is just not Thrawn being this tactical mastermind. Yeah.
Yeah. He looks cool though, at least.
It looks Lars Nicholson was perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
But space dolphins and space whales are the most important part.
Oh yeah, space whales that can travel by light speed is pretty cool.
But the space battleship Yamato, space whales that go by light speed are the best things ever. If only you could harness them, I would ride them through space. I'd be a Jonah and the whale, but in space. I just would try not to be eaten by them.
Right. Well, it seems like the Jedi could use them though, because didn't Ahsoka kind of talk to them like telepathically or whatever and then they agreed to help out or whatever?
She kind of has a little bit of an ability where she can like befriend animals, and so can Anakin. I think she learned that from him. That's not like every Jedi,
right?
She's got it. So let's see some cool stuff, please.
Yeah.
I bet they will be blue space whales. Ooh. Oh, true news! Proposed space carrier recently in Pentagon.
Cool.
I don't want to pay the taxes for that, but it sounds really cool. They also need to explain the world between worlds better to those that didn't watch all 9 seasons of Rebels. 4 seasons of Rebels? I was so confused. Yeah, it's only 4 seasons of Rebels, but it is 7 seasons of Clone Wars. Rebels is the only time it really does any world between world stuff, though. And it is very, very light with it and uses it very particularly. And I see where they tried to do that with Ahsoka. It just didn't come off necessarily 100% that same way. What you have seen Rebels.
Yeah.
So
it's been a while, but yeah, I've seen it.
Where was your finger on the pulse with Ahsoka, I guess?
As far as what I thought about it?
Yeah, how you thought about it. Did it hit the zeitgeist?
I like the show. I think I agree with you. The middle parts were better, and the ending was just kind of like, okay. It was kind of like they're doing another season of it, right? Or is that we don't know yet?
Yeah, they're doing another. And Ray Stevens
like a little bit like, okay, let's just take a breath and kind of just do a chill ending, and then we'll pick it up if we get a season 2. Like, I don't know. Maybe they were trying to end it in a way where it's like, okay, we can get a season 2, or if it just ends here, it ends here. I don't know.
Which would have off so much more. Realistically.
Or, you know, if they didn't know for sure they were getting a second season, maybe they were trying to, I don't know. It feels like maybe that wasn't the original ending, maybe. They changed it to something else. But I mean, I couldn't tell you what that was. But,
well, I mean, even if it weren't the original ending,
right.
Or even if it is, you know, 100% the original ending.
Yeah.
How can they film that much action and make it that boring? The only thing I think that was reminiscent of it in the recent years, like action pacing wise, was the Boba Fett Vespas through the streets, you know, a whole 4 miles an hour. I could probably catch them on my bike. In sand as well, like, and that's saying something. The zombie aspect of the stormtroopers that amounted to next to nothing.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was kind of dumb, the zombie thing.
It should have been overwhelming.
Really?
Like, lean into the zombies. They're overwhelming you.
Right.
Morgan Elsbeth fought well for the little bits they did, but once again, that's Bruce Lee's niece.
Right.
Let Mama show off. Like, have that fight be about 4 times the length it is, and have them actually do some cool stuff in it.
Right.
The kids in Skeleton Crew had faster bikes. They did. Much faster. Much faster.
They should have made them, I don't know, that was kind of dumb. Anyway.
But I'm with you on how Ahsoka just ends up. I love the description. I hate the description as well. It's just always a funny description. But it's a bit of a wet fart. It's a bit of a wet fart, the end of Ahsoka. You're just like, oh.
Yeah, it's just there was no like cliffhanger. There was no big bang or whatever. It was just kind of. Yeah.
When you had some pivotal moments that if you would have just played on them stronger, would have been insane. The Baylan Skoll leaving Shin Hati was, I think, the best moments of that episode. And thank the wills, as they would say in Star Wars, that Ray Stevenson was cast in that role and brought that gravitas to it. Or it would have not, I don't think it would have come off as as strong of a scene. I think Rory McCann is going to do really well as Baylan Skoll as well. But that, without those 2 actors, would have been a lesser moment. And I don't think we could have afforded many more lesser moments in the final episode of Ahsoka. Because it just felt like all these strong, pivotal moments didn't have the gravitas unless Ray Stevenson was there. I love Rosario Dawson, one of my favorite working actresses.
Yeah.
And I get that Ahsoka is very stoic and like in her own head and standing around like this for most of the season, but it makes sense for where the character's at. Sure. It's not very exciting to watch necessarily, but it makes sense for where she's at. But she doesn't even bring gravitas to and that's where I think Filoni's direction and show running took a big misstep, where Ahsoka doesn't have any gravitas anymore. The situations Ahsoka brings to the table are very weighted in gravity, you know, but Ray Stevenson's the only person that brings gravitas to that screen. And when you have Ahsoka and also Thrawn, in animation, if you feel the presence of Thrawn, he's thawing out right now. If you have the presence of Thrawn just there, you need to feel it, you know, like it should be something like, as a viewer, we can feel in our bones. And that's hard to do.
Yeah.
But if they can do it in animation, and then you get the same actors and cast ones that are even more apt, kind of for Sabine and Ahsoka, so on and so forth.
Yes.
What's keeping that recreation and ongoing terror from happening? Because at this point, it does feel like Go Fish, and I want to get back to 4D chess.
Yeah.
Acolyte particularly felt like Go Fish after
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was even that.
No, it was.
It was like put the right shape in the right hole.
Yeah, it was one of those dog games. Like,
yeah,
you put the star with the star, you get a treat.
Yep, exactly. Only you
Little
didn't get a treat.
wagging his tail.
No treats.
No.
You kept looking for them, but there just was not. All right.
Darth Plagueis tried to find one too. He just peeked out from the corner and was like, is there a treat? No, there's not. There's not a treat for showing up. There's a treat for participating, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Only good thing Star Wars has going right now is Andor. False. The animation is there. Obviously we'll see what the Tales do and stuff, but they still have been hitting it fairly strongly with animation. Bad Batch ended within the last year. Bad Batch ended pretty strongly.
I gotta finish that. I watched about half of it.
Of the last season or the whole show?
The whole show.
All right. Season 1, I think they should have sped up a lot. But season 2 and 3 of Bad Batch, I think, are pretty damn good. I don't know if they're at the same level as Rebels or Clone Wars, but pretty damn good. Yes, but Andor's
pretty good. And I like that it's kind of, they're kind of funny. They're fun to watch, just the way they interact with each other and stuff is good.
And for both Ahsoka and oh my god, come on. Oh my god. Ezra Bridger. That was gonna kill me. I kept just saying Boba Fett in my head over and over again. Ezra took a little bit. He got kind of ingratiated with Ezra faster than you do with Ahsoka. But you're used to that type of formula almost by Bad Batch. So I feel like with Omega, I was like, Omega, you feel like you're ingratiated with her even quicker because you're used to like, okay, this is the kid. We're following the kid, and not necessarily the adults throughout here. We're following the kid.
She wasn't really much of a kid though. She was kind of like almost very mature kid. But
I guess she is the only
clone, right? She was like just the female version. Yeah. Okay.
But she was the because there were a few others in the last season. You may or may not have seen one or two more. I don't know. What? Huh? Maybe. I don't know. Spoilers. What? Huh? Yeah. Anyway. She was her big like not claim to fame outside of being like the female clone for most of the other two. It was a little bit of a spoiler. Oops. Or the other couple. Oops. Whatever. They kind of be like they're like, oh wow, yeah, we've got another one, But it is made the point that was made. I think it was either the season 1 finale range or somewhere early in season 2 of Bad Batch. Whenever they're saying, oh. No. She's Boba Fett is Alpha Fett. This is Omega Fett. These are the two clones that do not have any advanced aging set inside of them. They're the only two clones that age like normal human beings.
Right.
So she does have that going for her at least. So she gets to like process information at a natural pace versus, hey, I'm 4 weeks old. I'm also 29. It's like
it's kind of crazy,
huh?
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about Meatloaf in here. For those of us that don't watch the animation, it doesn't matter. True, but nonetheless, the animation is and this will be a good way for maybe to hopefully convince you to watch some animation, Monk. Take the same approach that you take watching Parasite to animation. Of course, not every animated show is going to be freaking Parasite, but in the same, like, the thought process that Bong Joon-ho says, hey, just reading a little line of dialogue can get you into something further. Saying, hey, just because it's animated doesn't mean it's not a real story, a good story, something with gravitas, meat, wonderful world building, characterization, so on and so forth. Just because it's animated doesn't mean it can't be that. We've all watched The Lion King. Like, I mean, that's just the little fun, simple example of it, like, or the original Jungle Books or whatever,
I would say Rebels and Clone Wars, you definitely got to see those two at least, because I think there's a lot in there.
Yeah. Clone Wars is particularly just amazing. The singularity of Rebels makes me like Rebels just a little bit more overall. Clone Wars made me deeply, deeply, deeply fall in love with Star Wars. Where Rebels is like, okay, I get some of the characters I really liked from that, and you get about the same amount of them as you get in Clone Wars, since Clone Wars is so kind of 3 or 4 episode arc here, 2 episode arc here, 4 episode arc here. Where Rebels is that succinct ebb and flow.
And it's more like, they kind of become a family, and even though it kind of ends on a sad note, but
it's a happy note too. It is so sad, but it's
sad. It's just
oh my god, I didn't know I could happen as a kid.
I really liked Hera. She was like my favorite on there. Yeah.
Oh my god, we were literally, as it hit midnight last night, we just were seeing if Tales of the Underworld was on there, and of course they immediately put it on there, and I was like, okay, can't watch it right now, got to watch it in the morning. But my roommate saw the episode where we meet Hera as a child, and we watched Cham Syndulla take back Ryloth and Mace Windu, and he looks over, he's like, oh, I remember this episode, just going through all the episodes, and he's got to that episode, was like, I was never really just a fan of that one. I just looked at him with the most like angry grin possible for half a second. I was like, what? What? Because Hera and Cham are one of those glup shittos that are like just secondary or tertiary, like okay, they don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but they do kind of deal. If they're glup shittos are my favorite part of Star Wars. Like, context matters, and seeing the small perspectives of different individuals throughout the galaxy is always the best. I love Andor. Andor is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And it helps us put our heads into, like, especially where the Empire is at, because the Empire is very human-centric. So it's a very xenophobic thing, and, like, coming into Andor, you're like, okay, well, we're all humans. We don't necessarily want to be xenophobic or anything like that. So, like, the Empire, we don't like that they're doing this. We want to see more aliens. Andor makes you feel that on purpose, and that's a good thing. That's purposeful storytelling, where it's the opposite in Rebels, and it is also the same where it's purposeful storytelling. You get the amount of alien fun creatures you get for a reason. Firstly, of course, it is animation, so it's significantly cheaper to make them. But also, you get the perspectives of those different species, different races of those different species. There's different versions of Iridonians and Dathomirians. They're the same species, just splintered off, One's more matriarchal society, one's more patriarchal society, so on and so forth. There's a lot of those little, like, minor differences that you get throughout there that just build up a world with more nuance than I think anything maybe outside of Lord of the Rings has. And the only reason Lord of the Rings has that type of nuance is because J.R.
those little things that fill in the little spaces that make it feel like a fuller story, a fuller world, even though in the big picture maybe they don't matter, but somehow it still adds something.
Yeah, I mean, like, in the big picture they don't matter, but they do. Like, none of that big picture could have happened without them, but we get to see those small perspectives. I love that stuff. I love that stuff. Monk is saying he likes the tone of Andor. It has a distinct quality from pretty much anything else in Star Wars. Yeah, Rogue One is the only thing I can kind of think of that correlates.
Yeah, I mean, and they're obviously intentionally doing that. So, because basically, like, that movie is the end of this whole arc, right? The whole thing. So,
yeah. Well, and thinking of animation, you'd be familiar with it, of course, in Monk. These would be some of the things that I think you would like in animation, particularly, because there will be some stuff you're like, okay, well, that was for the kids. That was for the kids as well. Yeah. It's a kid's show. Expect that. But they're also, it's a kid's show with people getting limbs cut off very frequently and some batshit crazy things happening. this similar tone for Andor. Would you say like the Saw Gerrera arcs throughout the Clone Wars and Rebels kind of bring a little bit of that tone in there? And Bad Batch, while it is a show about Omega, Crosshair could hop into Andor at any second and fit perfectly, because that dude is bad.
Yeah.
Oh, we love watching it, but he bad to the bone, and would fit in Andor very well. So there are some things that correlate quality and tonally. But yeah, no, I think Andor is the best thing outside of Rebels, because I'm so fond of Rebels, and because I think that is just like, it is the epitome of Star Wars. Rebels is. That's the first time we get to see an actual family form outside of Han, Luke, Leia, and Chewie and R2 and C-3PO.
Yeah, and I think that it has that feel, like, definitely.
It's so good, and I forgot the most important person that makes it like just feel as good as like the original family, I think, is Zeb.
Right.
Zeb was the original Chewie. Like, that was what Chewbacca was supposed to be.
Right.
It's Rebels is amazing. I can gush about that all day. And
what's the name of the droid? I love him too. Like, why am I drawing a blank on the name? Chopper. Like, I knew it was a C name. Chopper. I love Chopper. He's great.
Have you gone back and ever seen any of Chopper's scenes slowed down to like 2 or 2.5 times speed, like minus it?
Oh,
You have to. They're so good. Chopper's dialogue is literally just Dave Filoni cussing and being as like mean as possible to all the other cast members.
Yep.
And it's hilarious. It's literally half of Chopper's lines are, "What the F is going on over here? Why would you do that? You're an idiot." Or like, "How are you being so stupid?" But it's just like sped up so fast, and add just a little like mechanic, little like auto tune kind of to it, where beep boop beep, it's perfectly fine. But if you slow it down, there's a lot of really good little like YouTube clips where you're like,
okay, I'll have to look those up then. That sounds funny. Yeah.
Then immediately you get the reaction from like Zeb or Ezra, and it just makes so much sense. You're like, oh, that reaction makes, I get it now.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that.
Monk saying, I get the appeal of the cartoons for those that saw them as a kid. Aging myself for a second, I was in college when those came out. It's like episodes 1 to 3. If you were raised on them, it's different. Totally. I mercilessly made fun of Phantom Menace after it came out.
I was like well into adulthood when I watched them, so I enjoyed it. I go into it like, okay, this is going to be geared to having, kids stuff in it, but they put enough in there that's adult too that you can enjoy it. And just like I said, I like the filling in of those little gaps and just a little bit more background info. Even if it is a little geared towards kids more, I still enjoyed it. Yeah.
But Phantom Menace. Let's just be honest. The way it is written in a lot of ways is not necessarily the best movie.
No.
And neither are Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith even. Revenge of the Sith is a much better written movie than the first two, but it's still not even a super, super well written movie. But the characterization and the heart and the world building aspect of it all, we know it. Well, it's a good movie. It's a very well written movie. The dialogue is what kills it, obviously, and maybe some of the way that George chose some of the pacing at different points. It's a very George Lucas thing, obviously. They're not the best films in the world, but there's a reason they have literal billions of fans on the globe. I don't know. It's the biggest franchise in the world for a reason.
Next to Star Trek.
Yeah, but Star Trek still doesn't hold a candle size-wise, monetarily. The Force Awakens outdid what all three of those new Star Trek movies did in about 3 weeks. Not actually, but not far off either. But also, the JJ Star Trek movies aren't nothing to write home about either. So
yeah, they weren't really what people wanted. I mean, they're okay, but I think you have to view them as like, okay, they're like a separate entity from like kind of the normal Star Trek. They're their own thing, which they did do that. They had the split timeline thing. That's just that timeline Star Trek. That's just kind of how I view it, you know?
Yeah. Those were really I'd watched like an episode or two and maybe like one of the old movies, just, my dad would have had on like, oh, it's on cable, it's on TV. And that might have been something I had seen, but those were the only, I saw all three of the Star Trek movies in theaters. And I think they kept me from wanting to dive further into Star Trek for years until I was on here for years and was hounded enough. Was like, okay, I should probably do it. And Enterprise is fun. I still don't, I like the temporal Cold War, but anyway, we can talk about that. What day is Star Trek Day? Because there is a Star Trek Day, isn't there?
I forget what it
See, Star Trek needs some good alliteration. Then they're all good. Because May the 4th be with you.
When is Star Trek?
Oh, we haven't said that yet. It is Star Wars Day, but May the 4th be with you, y'all. All of you. Star Trek is older than Star Wars. Doctor Who is older than Star Trek. Yes, that it is. That it is. Robert Meyer Burnett, I think it was yesterday. It was either yesterday or the day before. I had a good little video popped out on I think it was the Burnett Work, his main channel. I think it was probably only channel. About is Star Wars sci-fi, and from the people that wrote sci-fi, and from George Lucas's mouth himself. No, it's not sci-fi. It's a space fantasy and a space opera. But it's so fun, and it brings, even if it's not truly science fiction, which neither is Star Trek. Sorry, by definition, it's not 100%. It leans heavily into some hard sci-fi. Go watch the R&B video is great. Y'all should check it out, everybody. But yeah, it at least Star Wars brings people into the fold of a sci-fi loving kind of realm. It's close enough. It's that adjacent, but like right next door adjacent, where we consider it the holy trinity of sci-fi. Like it's obviously it's not even sci-fi, but it's still big enough, and it has brought enough people into this genre of interest that hey, I think we'll forever be thankful for it. Donnie's here. Hello, Harris, Aaron, all. Hope happy unofficial Star Wars Day. Hope you are well.
Should I put my helmet on again? No.
All have been screwed over in the last several years, with maybe a few exceptions.
Yeah, that's true.
Which JJ movies doesn't count.
They're their own thing, but whatever,
The exceptions, as much as we all talk about how the franchises do kind of feel like they're on their tail end of life in a lot of ways, It's, at least Star Wars hits the ball more often than Star Trek or Doctor Who, or it even hits the ball more often than Marvel has been recently.
Yeah, I would agree.
Which is kind of wild to say, because it doesn't necessarily hit the ball too often either. It doesn't have the best batting average in the world, Star Wars, right now. But it is odd that it is still a little bit better than the others. Like you said at the beginning, Thunderbolts. Oh my God! At the end, whenever we talk about what we've watched this week for a second or two, we might have to gush about some Thunderbolts for a second. But I hope with Andor and Thunderbolts that, and with Iger saying, "Hey, I want to actually retire soon," that'll just continue to hopefully raise the quality back up.
I hope so.
We're about to see today if Tales of the Underworld is quality raising or not, but Dune over Star Wars, and there's some good Star Wars movies. Yeah, from a truly sci-fi perspective, and knowing you, Monk, that makes perfect sense. From the like film and cinema loving versus like blockbuster popcorn, and Star Wars is more than just blockbuster popcorn, thankfully.
Yeah, it is.
The newer movies are still, even Rise of Skywalker is a little bit more than just blockbuster popcorn.
Yep.
But it's not too far off. And it'd be nice to get that back into that Rogue One Andor kind of quality. And, you know, Dune kind of quality. We'll get Dune for Star Wars. I think we'd all be happy.
Yeah.
Lux and the Whale are two of the greatest Doctor Who episodes in years, and that's saying a lot. Interesting. You said Lux, and my brain went right to Clone Wars. I was like, Lux Bonteri and Ahsoka's like kind of boyfriend that they didn't actually get together, but he could pop up in Ahsoka season 2.
Yep.
Or was it Lux Bonteri, or was it Lux's nephew? Anyway, I need to another show that we could probably all rewatch again and again and again, and remember and not remember half the things possible about. Star Wars is a combination of Dune and Kurosawa movies with a touch of the Western genre. Did you just describe the best thing ever? Yeah. I think so. Actually, though.
Yeah.
Dune, Kurosawa, Western? Count me in. I need to put the cowboy hat on, too. I'm ready. Must be the exception that proves the rules. The numbers are, I believe, tanking for Doctor Who. Oh yeah. Oops. They're kind of tanking everywhere though. The numbers that we've been talking about recently are Daredevil numbers on Disney Plus.
Right. Yeah.
And that's not one where you can blame the show. That's people saying we don't want Disney Plus anymore.
Right.
Which is kind of wild.
Or people not liking other content and thinking it's just going to be more of the same, and it's a different, you know. You got to draw people back in, and people aren't just hearing like how good Daredevil is, I guess.
Well, and then also, I guess once it's all said and done, Daredevil did not end on a good note. Now it was a cool note, but it was like, oh, so you gave us a season to not give us a season. This literally amounted to nothing, and all you did was set up a second season. This felt like a halfway point. I don't think that was a very good word of mouth to end the season on.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, should I watch this? Oh, no, just wait till next year, if I watch it at all.
Right.
Is what it's going to end up being. And Oh, Donnie said he was watching Tales of the Underworld earlier. Hey, catch up with me in a little bit at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to be checking it out. And we'll watch it for the hour and a half of it all. Speaking of Disney, 1 month and 1 day more to the highly anticipated season 5 premiere of Phineas and Ferb. Oh my God, they're bringing it back? What? Yeah, and I think, Mike, I think you're with a lot of people. I think a lot of people are doing that same thing. I refuse to have Disney Plus as I'm not paying money to a Mickey Mouse operation. I get it. People are angry. And rightfully so, with years and years and years of like, no matter what side of a political divide or literally just whatever side of what kind of films you like watching, whatever it may be, Disney doesn't have any of our best interests in heart. And that's been pretty prominent the last few years, which sucks because that's a company that we all want to love. Like, it's hard for big corporations to actually have like the amount of love that Disney has inside of it. And obviously that love comes with almost like your old nuns pushing you down on some rice and beating you with a ruler every now and then, because Disney can be kind of strict, especially at their parks. But it's still like a love nonetheless, you know? And we don't want to see it falter. It's been faltering the last few years. And
it sounds like they're trying to change that, though, that they're kind of turning it in a little bit different direction. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully with Iger actually trying to retire, and then them trying to find replacements for Kathleen Kennedy,
Mm-hmm.
who, again, we'll say it 1,000 times over. She's an amazing producer and needs to stay in film producing, but just has no business. She doesn't love Star Wars. That is clear. That has been clear since day one. She's never once. She likes the money that comes from. I guarantee you, she loves the money that comes from Star Wars.
Yep.
But she doesn't love Star Wars.
Mm-mm.
That's not someone you hire to run Star Wars. I get the business aspect of it, but you know, you can have both. You can have both. Maybe it would falter a little bit, but that's when you have like your James Gunn, Peter Safran kind of situation, or pad the people around that CEO with the best kind of people you can and say, hey, that CEO might not be the most business-oriented individual, but we got some of the best suits you could have right around him. And they're going to hound him with all the suit stuff, but his love for Star Wars will win out, and all they're going to do is make sure they can all shareholders will make a bottom line, you know, which is part of it. Shame. If she had made good Star Wars, they'd have made more money.
True.
So much more.
Yeah. So
much more. Well, that also applies to Willow and Indiana Jones. And
yeah.
And that's the point. Like, honestly, we've all dogged, and I've definitely been somebody to do that in the past, and you know, just get emotional and get pissed off at the state of everything, and you know, dogged on Kathleen Kennedy for some bits. But it's easy. It's too easy to dog on her, and it's because she doesn't love it. She doesn't care. She ultimately, excuse my French, doesn't give a shit about any of it.
Yeah,
she's just like, I want the bottom line. I want the shareholders to be happy. And that's the only thing on her mind. And instead of actually trying to learn the product and the project she has at hand, she just kind of said, you know what, I'll take the suit approach on like even a larger scale and say, you know what, I'll hire somebody cool. And you know what, you don't have to actually stick to the way Star Wars was or is. Andor, I think, does. And I know that quote will people being like, well, Andor's part of that. No, it is just, it's so Star Warsy, it's insane. That's a whole different topic for a different day, I guess. But Acolyte, I think, is the easy example there, where it's like you hire somebody that doesn't. I know Leslie Headland, after Acolyte had already started airing, was like, I love Star Wars. I grew up watching these movies. And you're like, oh, I believe you. Like, sure. Like, the way you said that didn't come off as fake acting at all, Leslie Headland. But I don't even take that like away from her, because, you know, Russian Doll, everything, she's a great showrunner. Again, she didn't care about Star Wars. There's no need for her there. Same thing with Kathleen Kennedy. If you want to be there to like executive produce everything, that is the epitome of what she is good at. Find someone that cares to lead the team. Simple as that. Off my soapbox again. Like,
no, I mean, when somebody who loves the product they're producing, you know, and has like, they understand fans because they're one of them, and they get, I mean, it's so much better when you have people that are passionate about the subject. It just turns out so much better.
And to run off of that and add a little spice into it, Monk just jokingly said, bring back Rian Johnson. Yes, actually, yes, because he does care about Star Wars. Now, he screwed up the Luke Skywalker story a little bit, and a big bit, just about every way possible that you could have done it in that movie. But that's his taste. That's a Kathleen Kennedy problem and not a Rian Johnson problem. Kathleen Kennedy never should have hired Rian Johnson to do that. Now, if Rian Johnson wants, because Rian Johnson, I think, made the best film of the sequel trilogies. Force Awakens is just a copy paste for A New Hope, and just done on a little bit of a grander scale with a better budget. Rise of Skywalker is the most Frankenstein piece of film that we might ever see. And it worked out okay to some degrees, but it's Frankenstein together. Last Jedi would be just imagine it's not Luke and Leia. Imagine it's not Luke and Leia and Han.
Yeah.
That's a damn good Jedi story.
Yeah.
But
They got to
just
bring
had
back the legacy characters or whatever, I guess. Yeah.
It hurt the legacy characters. And that's what Rian Johnson, where he likes to subvert things. That's him thinking of it more in the filmmaker sense than from the fan perspective. And I think that is okay. I think that is okay when it's not your quote unquote Skywalker saga. But yeah, bring back Rian Johnson. I actually would love to see a trilogy of films from him in the Star Wars world. Oh wow. See, it's actually a really good movie. I can't watch it and not be extremely pissed off. But it is a really good movie. If it wasn't, I like what he did with Luke actually. Any other film, any other Jedi would be perfect. You cannot do that with Luke Skywalker in the Skywalker saga. It takes all the agency out of Skywalkers and then you give it into somebody that you just randomly decided was Palpatine's daughter at the end of the day, or granddaughter, or clone's daughter. Would it actually be Palpatine's daughter because of the clone? What? Huh?
Yeah.
It just
they made it unnecessarily complicated, I think. Sometimes. I don't know.
It didn't need to be, just because it was different filmmakers coming from different perspectives.
Yep.
If Rise of Skywalker ended up being Duel of the Fates and Colin Trevorrow's script for it, that could have been really cool, honestly. I don't think it would have been the right way to still do the whole Skywalker aspect of things necessarily, but could have been so much better. What's your excitement level for Mando and Grogu? And are you excited about any other projects outside of that's coming up? Like an Ahsoka season 2 or StarFighter with Ryan Gosling and Shawn Levy?
Yeah. I'm excited for Ahsoka season 2. What was the other thing you just said? My brain.
Are you pumped for Mando and Grogu?
Oh, the Grogu. I'll go see it. I don't know if I'm like super excited. It's like I want to see it, to see what they do with it, just to continue the story and know the story more. But I don't know if I'm like sitting on the edge of my seat, like waiting for it to come out, but I'll see it. And yeah.
That's where I'm at with it as well. I just don't know where to feel about it. It's like I'm going to go see it. And it's more of I'll see it because I'm intrigued. Not because, oh my God, it's the next Star Wars movie. We haven't had one in 6 years. It's go time.
Yeah.
It's definitely that. Oh yeah, I would have watched Mando season 4. Oh, it's all put into 2 hours. I'll go check it out. Kind of feels more like that.
Yeah.
Mike said Mando and Grogu sounds like something the doctor would give you tablets for. You're not wrong.
No.
The other big Star Wars news as of recently that we did just mention. What about StarFighter? Do you have feelings or thoughts on that at all?
I don't know much about StarFighter. That's what I'm looking at right now. I'm trying to.
It's the next movie after Mando and Grogu. It's Shawn Levy, Deadpool, Wolverine, The Atom Project, Free Guy. He's the director.
Okay. Sounds. I mean, I'm kind of looking at my iPad here, just reading about.
I believe it's going to be after the Rey movie as well. Not after the Rey movie. Excuse me. After the sequel trilogy.
I mean, it sounds. I'll see it. It sounds like worth at least checking it out. So, yeah.
Are you a big fan of the Atom Project and Free Guy and Deadpool, Wolverine and all that kind of stuff?
I like Deadpool. Wasn't like huge fan of Deadpool and Wolverine because that just seemed to be kind of a little. Deadpool and Wolverine seemed like a bit much. I get what they were trying to do, but it just seemed to be like a lot of fan service and just. How do you say it? It's become like too meta. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are other Shawn Levy films. Just if
I liked Free Guy. It's like one of those movies I watched. I wouldn't watch it again, probably. I liked the first Night in the Museum movie. I mean, that was kind of fun. Um,
So which one you said? Not at the museum?
yeah.
I
think that's the second one or something though there. Or is that the original one? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
1, 2,
Oh, you did both of those?
all 3 of them, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He
I
did
like
Real
the first one
Steel,
better.
Internship,
Um,
Cheaper by the Dozen, Pink Panther, Big Fat Liar. He did a lot of my childhood films.
Yeah. The Adam Project, I didn't see that.
That is the one you should watch.
Okay.
If you watch any of them, because every other movie he's done, all of these, like, okay, Big Fat Liar, Cheaper by the Dozen, Pink Panther, Night at the Museum, Real Steel, and Internship, all of those, like, you know, growing up, those, you know, being born in 99, all of those, pacing-wise, were kind of perfect to grow up on and watch, and that's kind of the type of film he makes. Night at the Museum, I think, were the actual only ones that were truly, like, quality films, and that's really the first one.
Right. Yeah, the first one.
Did you see Free Guy?
Yes, I did. Yeah. I liked it.
Okay.
It was fun. I'm not like a gamer, so I mean, I understand, I guess, to a degree, the world of gaming. I just don't play games because I just don't have the time to. But no, I enjoyed it. It was cute. It was funny. It was, you know, it was like a good movie. It's not a movie you're going to watch like 10 times. It's like a movie you see once, you enjoy it, and move on, you know, kind of thing.
All right. Because you just said you kind of feel the same about oh my god, the Deadpool and Wolverine too, right? It was like, it was good. It was okay. Good.
It was, yeah, I really, of the Deadpool movies, the first one is the one I like, because then it's kind of like, because it was sort of Ryan Reynolds coming out as that character, and now it just, like I said, it's like it's gone like too far, and it was just kind of, it was too. I didn't hate the movie, but it was just kind of like a little eye rolling at times of like, okay, here we go with that same kind of jokiness or whatever going on. It was a lot. It seemed like it was too much. Like there was just too much crammed into it.
So with Free Guy and Deadpool and Wolverine in mind, still excited for StarFighter?
I'll check it out. I don't know really. I don't really have strong feeling one way or the other, but since it's Star Wars, I'll have to watch it.
The Adam Project, that's a good one that, like, get Brett and the kids together and maybe watch that like an evening or something. I think that's like a really good family movie y'all would probably enjoy. That has some sci-fi elements, like spaceships coming around, and then there's almost a lightsaber like baton staff that kind of people use to fight a little bit. And that, if we are in that vein of stuff,
right,
we could have a really good movie.
Yeah.
Everything else Shawn Levy has ever made instinctively makes me think this movie is going to be pretty bad. I like Shawn Levy.
He's a Star Wars fan, I guess we have to say. Would he do it justice?
Well, and that's what Adam Project almost feels like, an audition thing for it. And I feel really bad about saying Shawn Levy movies are bad, because they're not. I really enjoy all of them outside of Free Guy. Free Guy, I absolutely hate. I'm sorry, but that's a movie that I'm like, it's a movie about nothing. And I'm like, it's a movie about nothing. It's a waste of people's time. And that's not what movies should be made for, I don't believe. And Deadpool Wolverine felt like continuation of Free Guy. Like, I where the tropes are there, it hurt me. I was just eye rolling the whole time, because I expected so much more from Deadpool and Deadpool 2. Those are like two emotionally strong films. And whenever Deadpool Wolverine sits down and actually brings like Marina Baccarin back into stuff, okay, we're all big fans of Marina Baccarin on SciTrek, but she's an amazing actress, and like actually grounds the scenes that she's in, and to the lack of it. Deadpool Wolverine is a film you watch once, and every time you watch it, there are diminishing returns. Yes. There's no plot. The plot is, we do afterthoughts on SciTrek.
Right.
It's an afterthought of an afterthought is the plot for that movie. It was literally just like, we have Ryan Reynolds and we want to do some Deadpool jokes. Disney is going to go rated R now. guess what? We're gonna go really edgy. We're cool, right, guys?
Yeah, that was the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. It's not a movie. It's not a movie that I'm like, oh, I gotta. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever watch that movie again. It's like it was. I think my husband enjoyed it a bit more than I did because it's more, guy humor, I guess. But
I love guy humor.
Yeah.
But if I'm watching a really good movie, I want it to be a really good movie too.
Mm-hmm.
I felt so bad because I watched it twice in movie theater, 3 times in movie theaters. The second and third time I went with groups of people.
Right.
And it was like some friends of mine, okay, going with a group of people is gonna make me like it more. Oh no. I made that movie worse for multiple people. I felt so bad about it. Because I would just walk out being like, and I would walk in excited, like, okay, this is gonna do it. Like, I'm gonna pick up on some things I didn't pick up on the first time.
Right.
No, not really. Like,
yeah.
It so doesn't care about itself that it doesn't even have like cool Easter eggs in the film really outside of things that it wants to show you. You know, it shows you all the things it wants to show you. It's like, oh, we got an Easter egg here and over there, and it's not like,
it was a little bit. Yeah, I didn't. It wasn't like it just
pause a frame and search. There's no like, oh my god, that was in the background and that's why that was actually happening over here. No.
No, it was just.
That's my worry with StarFighter. But the Adam Project, I cannot stress enough, was actually like a really good, heartfelt, not like an amazing, super, super, super quality film. Fairly generic, but really heartfelt and really sweet. And I hope they can lean into that aspect of Shawn Levy versus the Deadpool Wolverine. Like, hey, I work with Disney now. You need a new Disney project and you can't get anybody else to do a Star Wars film? I got you. Because that kind of feels like where we're at.
Right.
And I don't want it to be that. But Star Wars. I think we all want it to be a little bit more punchy punch and in like a quality, heartfelt way. The Tomorrow War is better than the Adam Project. I would actually agree. It's not Tomorrow War is not the best movie either. But Adam Project it's so heartfelt, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the heartfelt aspect.
The good story.
Yeah, because it's generic as all get out. It's the most generic thing possible.
Right.
And so is Real Steel. Real Steel is freaking generic as can be, but it's
I remember seeing that and liking it. I have a hard time remembering like the details of it, but I remember I enjoyed it, and it felt like it was a very like kind of feel good movie. I remember liking it. Yeah.
It's got that feel good. It's got that Hugh Jackman, and Hugh Jackman can make it feel good. That's perfect. Where he's like, oh, I might be like boxing on the side of the rink with this big cool robot, but my son's watching me. My son's part of this journey with me to try to get this money back. And guess what? I'm not just getting the money back for me. I'm getting it for my son. There are those elements in that movie that are like, oh, this is nice. I really hope StarFighter has some stuff like that.
Right. I'm gonna have to get going here in about 10 minutes. So
okay. Chad Stahelski Star Wars movie would be sick.
Yeah.
I guess I feel like I had another Levy themed question. Oh, would you rather Star Wars StarFighter to come out? Or would you rather just the Patty Jenkins Star Wars Rogue Squadron film to actually come out? That was supposed to be. Because this feels like it is totally taking the place of what that was.
Okay. I don't know enough about it.
do you remember when she it was just going to be about like starfighters, honestly. I think it was just like Resistance or Rebels, one of the two starfighters. But it was Patty Jenkins, the Wonder Woman director, and her dad was in the Air Force. She grew up like jumping from Air Force Base to Air Force Base, so she like announced that they were going to make this thing with Lucasfilm, and it was an awesome little project that,
right,
like most other Star Wars movies.
Cool, but yeah, I'm not informed enough on it to like give you an opinion. But I mean, it sounds
well. That I will leave open for chat. Between Star Wars Starfighter, knowing Rogue Squadron was going to be a series series. No, that was not. Rogue Squadron was going to be a movie with Patty Jenkins. the series was going to be with Cara Dune and Bo-Katan, and that was Rangers of the New Republic. Separate, but yeah, same vein. Rogue Squadron was going to be a Patty Jenkins film, and it just even with Wonder Woman 2, and that was one of the worst films I think I've ever witnessed, especially on that type of budget and scale. I still think Patty Jenkins could have made a damn good movie. The series was announced in 2020. Rogue Squadron is a series of books.
Right.
I heard Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron was back on. Yeah, but then they announced StarFighter like a month and a half after they said that. So, is it?
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
We shall see. Okay, well, we got about an hour and 10 minutes before it's Tales of the Underworld. It's also a game.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw that.
Interesting. In about an hour and 10 minutes is going to be Tales of the Underworld. So it is about time to hop out of here.
Yep.
Before we go, though, what have you seen this week?
Well, Thunderbolts, Andor. I'm still, I've been still working my way through Wheel of Time and getting caught up on Last of Us. So.
Because you're still watching season 1 of The Last of Us, right?
Right. I'm on the episode about almost done with the episode where they're in Kansas City and they're working with that guy who's like enemy number 1 by the chick that runs Kansas City or whatever. Yeah. I'm like right about 3/4 of the way through that episode. So.
That's good. I still haven't watched any of season 2, and I just don't know if I have interest in season 2 at all now. Like, knowing how the second episode goes, which was spoiled kind of everywhere, surprise, it's the internet.
Right. I haven't. Anyway. But spoilers don't bother me, really. I'm not, it's like, it is what it is. I don't,
Well, I'm with you. The brain likes anticipation more than it does a surprise. So spoilers typically aren't the worst thing ever, unless you have like all the context and you're like, well, why am I watching this? But if you don't have all the context and you're like, this is going to happen, your brain is like, how is that going to happen? And you just have all the little like synapses firing, which is always fun. I haven't seen season 1 or 2. In my opinion, Monk. You like season 1 for the quality.
Yeah.
But have you played the game Last of Us 2? No, I've not. I don't have any PlayStations. I've watched them. I just have never played them myself. They don't have PlayStations. But I guess outside of Last of Us and
Wheel of Time.
There we go. I was like, I know it's a series. The last 3 weeks, you've been saying it. I know it. And Thunderbolts. You checked anything else out?
That's it. I mean, Andor, of course. Did I mention that already? I don't know. That's pretty much about it. And then, Stanley Cup playoffs are going on, so I'm watching that. Which Dallas won is moving on to round 2. So just so you know.
Know nothing about hockey. All I know is go Texas.
Yeah.
The game is far superior to the series. For Last of Us. I thought you were talking about hockey for a second.
Yeah, I always hear like all these people like the story of the game is like so good. That's why they made it into a series. Andor is trash. Come on.
Oh, Wade Nation. Come on. Tell me you haven't watched Andor without telling me you haven't watched Andor. Is the easiest way to do that right there.
It's adult Star Wars.
It is. It's Star Wars taking itself seriously. Nothing outside of it nothing inside of it hasn't been done in other Star Wars series before, to some degree. And it's just great. It's just great. So good. Anyway, this week I guess watched Andor. Watched season 1 up to episode 4. Sounds about right. That's what everybody that still doesn't have a good opinion on Andor. That's about as far as they made it, and it shows nothing against you. It just shows a little bit of a patience level and like what people are willing to watch nowadays. Slow burns
gets better.
Slow burns have the best payoffs. TikTok brain shows don't have very good payoffs because you have to just keep hitting your serotonin and dopamine levels throughout the whole time, over and over and over and over, versus here, let a story unfold, let something expand, and when you get that payoff, when Marva is at the end of that season, you're going to be next in tears. You're going to want to stand up on your screen and go into battle with the rest of them. Like, it's good. And that's not to take away from anything. That's literally how society is with watching things nowadays. And, you know, hopefully we get back to actually quality instead of, I don't know how to say it besides TikTok. Like, that's just the easiest, like, thing that we all understand is like, oh, yep, that phenomena, huh? I will try to endure. Thanks for the push. You got it. You got it, Arnie. I watched all Andor. It's very good in parts and terrible in parts. Interesting.
It can be. I think the first season, where you can say that about. I mean, this second season seems more concise, more of a tighter story thing since they broke it into those pieces. And
1 year over 3 episodes instead of 1 year over 12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, back to quality over quantity would be wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Which literally Andor season 2, like they heard people in season 1. I would never use the word terrible for any parts of Andor season 1. Maybe
it gets a little slow in parts, but
especially those first 4 episodes, and there's probably one of the prison episodes that's a little slow. A little slower than the others, I guess. But it's just deliberate. It's wonderful. Oh, really? I found myself loving episodes 3, 5, and 6 of season 2 of Andor more than episodes 1, 2, and 4. Interesting. Must have coffee moments often. Yeah, but like that. They took what they heard from season 1 of Andor and said, hey, well, now we're going to give you this distinct and purposeful arcs, you know, and it sounds like they did really well. Sarah, you can't sit there and tell me you enjoyed the Rebels scenes. We talked about that last week.
The Rebel scenes, specifically
in episode 2 of Andor.
Oh.
Season 2. Hey, that was we were all on here complaining about it.
Oh, those, the dumbasses.
Two rebel groups.
That is probably like the weakest point of this season so far. But fortunately, they kind of, they ended that and are moving forward.
It's still that alone. That episode could have been like a short on Star Wars that they could have just placed in, like, hey, do you want to understand what the galaxy is going through right now?
Right.
Here's 13 minutes, or here's 18 minutes of a short that we made. And that would have really been like, okay, well, this is telling how people are actually, they want to fight the Empire, but who's the Empire? How do we trust what's going on? You know?
And a lot of people may be joining out of just it's the cool thing rather than really understanding what was really going on, and that this is, we're talking about, people for real getting hurt, getting killed, that kind of thing.
And turning on each other, and not because they're trying to turn on each other, because they don't know who to trust or what to do. Like, it's such an odd and meaningful moment. Very not the best handled episode of Andor. I think it's the least well handled episode of Andor. Nonetheless, it is necessary. But like we said for the last week, just trim that episode in half. Like, give us a 20-minute episode for that, and add some other stuff.
Just somehow shorten that up, or find a better way to convey that they're disconnected and idiotic, without them just being a bunch of dumbasses, like dumbass kids that don't know what they're really getting into.
Yeah. It would be nice to hear the ghost mention. We saw it in season 1 of Andor. That would be really cool. Cassian can't find forward thrust, and 2 seconds later, he's an ace pilot flying through collapsing cave. 2 days later, if you listen to the dialogue in the actual show, space isn't just like boo boo boo. You gotta go, and he struggled.
He had some time to kind of figure out what things were.
Yeah, they gave us that line.
Yeah.
On purpose. Yeah. That's a good point. I forgot what we were doing. We started on an Andor to go again.
Yeah. Anyway, I gotta go in a couple minutes here, so.
All right, speed round then. Andor, caught up on that for the first 3. Still need to catch up on the second 3 before Tuesday. Watch a little Stargate in the background, playing cards throughout the week. The studio is what I know Monk wants to talk about, which was freaking awesome. It was a really good episode. I like that they're kind of making it a it stopped being like the first few episodes were super like Hollywood centric. We're making fun of how Hollywood works, into now it's a workplace comedy within a studio, and I like that. I like that workplace comedy aspect. Parks and Rec. Been watching a lot of Parks and Rec. Almost done with that. That's just kind of the show my roommate and I watch. We're just about to finish season 6, which is really cool. Almost there. It's gonna be sad, but it's gonna be fun as can be at the same time. Film wise, Thunderbolts was so good. It's my favorite MCU thing since Werewolf by Night.
Right.
Oh, that's actually a really good point. Studio's going a little more Seinfeld-esque now. Yeah, that's the
Yep.
See you, Juliet. Thunderbolts. What was the last Marvel movie you enjoyed as much as that?
Oh God, what was it? I think the final like Avengers one was really good, although it had a lot in it. That's the only thing. God, what is the last Avengers movie I really liked?
Well, would you put Thunderbolts or Spider-Man No Way Home above one or the other? I think I'd rather watch Thunderbolts, honestly.
I would probably put Thunderbolts above that. Again, I thought it was going to be much more about like an alien influence thing rather than it was
with Thunderbolts.
Yeah, like I don't want to give away too much. So I'm trying to like.
What made you think aliens?
Oh, just I thought that maybe just the way the movie was and stuff. I thought maybe the void was going to be some sort of like an alien influence or alien presence or something, some interdimensional being that would feed off of, connect himself to the guy, to Bob. But it's more like
it's
internal
just personality disorder.
Yeah. So that was kind of an interesting. I didn't expect it to be, the mental health thing it was. I mean, it works, but it was like I wasn't expecting it when I realized like that's what it was. I was like, oh, this is just that serum or whatever it is they gave him just gave his dark side superpowers or whatever.
That it did.
Yeah.
That it did.
Yeah, and I like the kind of they had to go through those rooms of sort of bad moments or whatever.
I have seen a couple people say like we could have had just another 18 minutes of a movie and you could have just showed us all the cool things throughout those rooms. Like with some of the characters,
some of the other people, they just mentioned like, we made it through our rooms or whatever, but it would be cool to, now Bucky's, we kind of know what his rooms are going to be. We kind of already know
that would have been really good.
But,
if we had seen anybody, I think Bucky and Ghost would have been the two that we should have maybe elaborated on because we know Bucky so well.
Yeah.
And because Ghost is a character that's just been very underutilized, and I'm a big fan of her, so I just want that character to be used. That's my only reasosoning for that one. But also, Hannah John Kamen's awesome, and that character has a lot of emotional things that we have not seen, and it's just kind of been.
Right.
She's like, oh yeah, my body's constantly trying to leave reality, and it has to stay within the suit. So, hey, life sucks, and you're like, oh okay,
yeah.
It would have been interesting to see a little bit of that, and as much as it would have been fun to go back on Red Guardian a little bit,
right?
Those flashbacks correlate with Yelena enough where it's like,
yeah, I think we kind of get that. He's just a Russian Captain America.
I don't want to spoil too much, and we've kind of teetered. We haven't spoiled anything necessarily. Right. Did you think the mental health? I don't know if that's the right way to say that. Do you think that approach for the third act was the right approach? because it did kind of feel like Red Hulk being talked down by Sam Wilson.
Okay.
But good. I thought it was actually really well done. I was
I think there's a lot of people that battle with that kind of stuff that will relate to it. And I think that's good.
Do you think it worked in the film though?
It was all right. Like I said, it was just kind of like, oh, this is what this movie is, so it's kind of a little bit more like kind of like absorbing that it was like this other thing than what my expectations were. But I think they did it very well. And it'll see what, where are they going to take them in the future? Because they're like, are they like they're supposedly the new Avengers now or whatever. So, yeah.
What was that one? Call it by its real name, guys. I'm super excited.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Well, in the comics, there's the Dark Avengers, New Avengers, Avengers, West Coast Avengers.
There's a lot of different categories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at this point in the MCU, might be time to expand a little bit, and I did really appreciate that this film was more grounded and not grounded in like, oh, you got to hang out with the characters. It was grounded in like this. It was a giant world level threat to a degree, sure, yes, kind of, sort of.
Yeah. It was a tight story. I mean, they kept the story pretty tight, like this is what it is, and they stuck to it, and it didn't get off track really. It stayed true to what it was. So I appreciated that. I liked how it stayed, like it didn't feel like they were trying to do all this crazy extra things that just didn't need to happen.
That was the most interconnected film we've gotten from Marvel in a long time that actually was well handled and still didn't feel like it was trying to interconnect everything.
Right.
Would you want to see them do more films like that? Take that kind of same approach with that tight script, that tight narrative?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm right there with you.
Yep.
We wait to watch Marvel movies when they come on Disney Plus. So we have not seen No Way Home yet. You'll like it on your first view for sure.
Right.
After that, it's up in the air. Not big spoilers, but expected. This literally goes into earlier whenever I was kind of differentiating between spoilers and the anticipation your brain feels. This is to let your brain anticipate and start getting excited about versus spoiling. We know a certain team with a certain movie coming up is going to end up surviving their movie.
Yeah.
But how is the question we're all asking ourselves now.
Yep.
Just watched Andor shoot his way out of a hangar, then got chased through cave. It's straight away, not at same time. But you're wrong and right. Hangar just chased cave through the cave straight away, not at same time. Well, he's learning the ship for a second.
Yeah.
He's also a very well-vetted pilot that is already trained to learn how to fly test piloting ships. He's going to get the hang of it. But even after 2 days, we see that he doesn't have like 100% the hang of it either. Like,
yeah.
They make that. That's just hanging your cap on something for the sake of it. It's not even being pirated, LOL. You know what? I was thinking about Getaway yesterday. I don't think she's ever releasing it. I don't know. I think it's one of those films that our director made because she wanted to make it. I don't know if it's a film that is going to truly be released on any grandiose scale or anything like that. I actually am not 100% positive, even though technically we're all producers on it. We should know, but kind of sort of a portfolio thing. Not really. I have no idea if you can't tell from my rumblings for the last half minute there.
All right, I need.
Oh, okay. Let's hop on out of here because no idea, but been thinking about it. Yes to this.
Yeah.
Always yes. We need our own studios.
Yeah.
Everybody does. But that is all from us.
Yep.
This has been Sci-Fi Sundays.
Bye.
And SciTrek. Happy Star Wars Day, y'all. And may the 4th be with you. Time for Order 66. Let's slash some younglings and get out of here, y'all. Adios. My button. There we are.